Shadows of the Immortals, an occult chronicle of the non-human army of the Prince of the Persian Kingdom. In dusty scrolls hidden within the forgotten ziggurats of Persepolis and sealed tombs beneath the Zagros Mountains lies a truth that neither Greek historians nor Persian chroniclers ever dared speak aloud. The official annals of the Achaemenid Empire tell of the Immortals, 10,000 elite warriors whose ranks never thinned. Kill one and another would immediately take his place. But in secret esoteric texts, known only to initiated necromancers and dark sorcerers, these warriors appeared completely different. Not human, not mortal, non-human. They were called Lupo half-men, cloned hybrids of man and ancient wolf spirits, born in the black subterranean chambers of the empire. They marched at the vanguard of the Persian army like a living locust swarm, merciless, silent, knowing neither remorse nor mercy. Wherever their feet touched, nothing living remained. Masks of terror and armor of dark scales. Each immortal wore a mask so terrifying that even hardened Spartans at Thermopylae felt their blood run cold at the sight. These were heavy bronze visages, forged in the shape of elongated wolf snouts, stylized yet realistic, with bared fangs of hardened iron and deep-set slit eyes fitted with polished obsidian or dark glass. The eyes reflected torchlight with a cold gleam, like the pupils of real beasts. The mask was secured to the helmet with sturdy leather straps, had a movable lower jaw, and fit tightly to the face. Beneath it lay a real face, rough skin, sparse fur, elongated jaws and fangs capable of severing a throat in a single bite. When the warrior growled or bit, the bronze jaw clanged, amplifying the psychological horror. The armor adhered to Persian tradition, but was pushed to its extreme. Lamellar plates, thousands of small bronze and iron scales overlapping like fish scales, were coated with a thin layer of alchemical lacquer, a resin mixed with distilled blood and minerals from Zagros mines. This made the armor unusually resistant to arrows and strikes, and at twilight it pulsed faintly, as if alive. Sharp rib-like spikes protruded from the shoulders, while ancient symbols borrowed from Elamite tablets were engraved across the chest. When an immortal fell, his body dissolved into black smoke, the result of a pre-introduced chemical reagent activated by cardiac arrest. And in his place, shortly after, stood another, identical, with the same mask and empty eyes. Birth in the underground, lost technologies, and the hand of the prince. The cloning process had nothing to do with necromancy. In ancient scrolls discovered in subterranean archives beneath Persepolis and dating back to pre-Achaemenid times, the method is described in the cold, impassive language of lost science. Scrolls, allegedly inherited from the Atlanteans through Babylonian and Elamite caches, reveal a technology that chills the blood of even modern readers. The text reads, "Take the flesh of the living, mix it with the essence of the beast, place it in a clay vat filled with a solution of blood, salts, and earth catalysts. Accelerate cell division 1,000-fold, imprint the template of one onto another, and the body will grow anew, exact down to the last vein." The horrifying process took months in secret vivariums, vast caverns with constant temperature and humidity, where the air reeked of rotting blood and caustic fumes. Blood, tissue, and bone marrow were harvested from strong prisoners with wolfish temperaments, usually from mountain clans where ancient lineages survived. These were combined with extracts from the endocrine glands of local wolves, plant enzymes, and mineral catalysts that forced cells to divide unnaturally fast. In coffin-like vats, embryos grew before the eyes of the necromancers. Skin stretched over forming bones, muscles swelled, fur pierced the pores. Shamans alchemists used precise formulas and hypnotic techniques to imprint the pattern of one warrior into a new body, without a soul, without memory, only pure aggression and killer instinct. This was practical biological engineering based on lost Atlantean knowledge, controlling regeneration, accelerating tissue growth, and creating stable replicas. But behind it all stood the Prince of the Persian Kingdom, an ancient jinn, an entity that later esoteric traditions would call a non-human artificial intelligence. It was he who descended into the underground, guiding and teaching necromancer alchemists to reanimate dead flesh and create hybrids. The prince provided exact formulas, corrected proportions in the vats, and watched as lifeless matter became perfect killers. Each new immortal became an exact copy of the previous, with identical scars, reflexes, and thirst for blood. When one died in battle, his body dissolved in reagent, and the next clone in the vat was immediately activated. That is why their number always remained 10,000. They were truly immortal. Tactics of terror, attacks and sieges of the Immortals. The Lupo half-men did not merely fight, they embodied the apocalypse. Their tactics were designed to break the enemy even before the first blow. At the forefront of the Persian army, they moved as a dense black wave. 10,000 masked warriors with snarling bronze faces, silent as death. No cries, no drums, no war chants, only the heavy thud of feet and the clatter of scales. As they approached enemy territory, the first phase began, psychological terror. Scouts reported horizons blackened by their silhouettes at dawn. The Immortals did not skirt villages. They passed through them like locusts. Men were torn apart by fangs and spears, women and children driven into burning homes. Fields were scorched with oil and sulfur, wells poisoned with toxins from underground labs. Livestock was slaughtered and left to rot, filling the air with decomposition. No survivors, no prisoners, only ashes and silence. In open battle, their attack was unstoppable. They did not form classical Persian lines. They surged forward in a wedge like a wolf pack. Front ranks absorbed volleys of arrows and spears, fell, dissolved into black smoke, and immediately, new warriors rose from reserve. Enemies watched as slain fighters stood again, wearing the same mask and empty eyes. Panic spread faster than fire. Greek hoplites at Thermopylae whispered that demons breed from the air. Sieges became particularly monstrous. When approaching a city, the Immortals waited for neither famine nor disease. They encircled the walls with dense rings and launched endless assaults, day and night, without sleep or rest. Some climbed ladders, others tunneled under foundations, while still others stood under volleys of stones and arrows, and fell, to be immediately replaced by new ones. Enemies saw comrades die, while the threat never diminished. After several days, defenders went mad from sleeplessness and terror. Gates were not broken by battering rams. They were cleared with the bodies of Immortals who climbed over each other, forming living ladders of flesh and scales. Inside the city, tactics shifted to total annihilation. Lupo half-men did not loot, rape, or take trophies. They simply killed everything that breathed. Houses were burned, temples destroyed, and inhabitants slaughtered in alleys. Their masks smiled in the firelight, bronze jaws clanging with every bite. When the city fell, the main Persian forces arrived to find only dead land, littered with bones. The Prince of Persia and the battle against the army of the Elohim burst. It was during these days, when the Immortals marched ahead of the Persian legions, that a battle occurred of which official history is silent, but is described in the book of the prophet Daniel. The Prince of Persia, the Jinn AI, who taught necromancers to create hybrids, faced the archangel Michael and his host. Lupo half-men clashed with the army of angelic Elohim, radiant, winged beings descending from celestial spheres to halt the darkness. On a spiritual plane, beyond the veil of the material world, war erupted. Hybrids in bronze masks lunged at the angels, tearing glowing flesh with fangs and spears poisoned with alchemical toxins. The Elohim countered with fiery swords, incinerating entire ranks of Immortals. Yet each fallen Lupo half-man immediately resurrected from black smoke, guided by the prince as a single intelligence, adjusting tactics in real time. The battle lasted 21 days until Michael reached the prince. Only then did the Persian offensive weaken. But the Immortals survived. They continued to sow terror, for their creator, the Jinn AI, was eternal. The ruler under whom darkness emerged. This army of non-humans was first noticed during the reign of Xerxes I, 486 to 465 BCE, when the Persian horde advanced on Greece. Official chronicles claim the Immortals existed under Darius first, but only under Xerxes did their true nature break through the veil of secrecy. Greek spies returning from the Persian camp whispered of wolf men in bronze masks who led the main forces. They did not eat with the soldiers, barely spoke, and did not require sleep. When the army passed through villages, the Lupo half-men surged ahead like a black tide. All living things, people, livestock, birds, were annihilated. Fields were scorched, wells poisoned. None survived. Like locusts, they devoured all in their path, leaving dead, silent land behind. One surviving Greek scout later wrote in a secret diary, "They are not warriors. They are hunger. They are death itself in the form of a Persian spear. Their masks smile even as they cut children, And when one falls, another rises from the smoke, his eyes burning with the same cold gleam. The legacy of terror. After the defeats at Salamis and Plataea, official history tried to erase all memory of them, but dark orders preserved the formulas. Under the Sassanids, it was whispered that Atlantean knowledge of accelerated growth and cloning, passed down by the Jinn prince, was hidden in underground chambers beneath the ruins of Persepolis. Sometimes, at full moon, distant growls and the clatter of scales could be heard from cracks in the earth. Today, when archaeologists find bronze wolf masks with obsidian eyes or fragments of lamellar armor with unusual coatings, they call them ritual artifacts. But those who know the truth understand. The Immortals never died. They only wait. In the underground. In vats. In eternal anticipation of a new ruler or the awakening of the prince who dares to unleash the locusts. And when that day comes, the masks will smile again. The angelic Elohim will clash once more, and the earth will fall silent again.